The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to festival custom. After they had completed its days, as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem. But his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances. But not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus advanced in wisdom and age and favor before God and man. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. I would like everybody this evening to think about your family. Think of the good things. Think of the bad things that may have happened in your family. Think of the joys and also of the sorrows. Think of how you grew up in your own father's family, and think of how you raise your own children. For those who are grandparents today, think of the times you did not know what to do with them, because there is no returning of them once they come. It's not like clothing you buy from Kohl's or Macy's, and when it doesn't go well, you return it. It's not like electronics you buy in Best Buy. It doesn't work well, you return it. You've got them, you've got them. As you think of this, I think we should praise all parents. We should praise all parents who are struggling or who have struggled to raise up their children. Like Father Mike was saying at the confession of the young people, he said, "Thank your parents, because none of you came with an instruction. Nobody is given an instruction on how to raise children. So it's a matter of trial and error. What goes and what does not go, what succeeds and what does not succeed. In that trial and error, you keep on doing all you can with the best of your ability and with love in your hearts to help these little human beings, to help to form them. We know that all of us come into the world like a plain sheet of paper, and how we are raised determines what is written on our hearts and in our lives that you're not able to clean them out. They remain with you. And the experience of growing up in your family determines a lot what you do. Psychologists say life is nature and nurture, but I think that nurture has a lot to do with what we become. The great psychologist Sigmund Freud made a confession. When the daughter was born, he could not imagine that that little baby could change his perception of reality and the way he looked at human beings. He found that this little human being had a mind of her own. And from there, Freud's understanding of humanity or human beings grew in leaps and bounds. What I'm trying to say is that parents deserve pass mark for what they have done. You may say, what about those who did not turn out to be good? To answer you that, I will say, look at those who turned out to be good, and note that those who turned out to be bad are an exception. We take the good ones, and we know, as the bakers say, there's always the baker's dozen, it is always 13, because they know one might go wrong. So they take 13 as their own dozen. So if you have such a person in your family, take that person as your own baker's 13. It did not turn out the way you expected. Not all the doughs in the oven turn out to be the same way. Some become very nice, some become disfigured. Having said this, we need to thank God for all our good parents who have struggled, who have made sacrifices, who sweated, who had to take extra jobs, running helter-skelter in order to help human beings, the little ones, to grow up. I asked a question once, nobody has been able to give me the correct answer. A woman who has 3 children growing up in her family, how many miles does she cover in a day in her house? Who knows? A woman who has 3 children, 3 young children in her house, how many miles does she cover in her house, to the basement, upstairs, to the kitchen, to the dining room, to the living room, to the bedroom, and all that? Who has been able to calculate that? When I was studying in Fordham University, we had one of the students with us in the class. On the first day of the class, we were introducing ourselves and saying what we came to the school to do. So this elderly woman, she was then 85, she said, I want to change my career. So we said, what have you been doing? She said, I have been a mother. Now I want to find something else to do. My children are grown up. What she said did not make much meaning to a lot of us, because there were many priests in the class and nuns. She had had a career, an unpaid career. Now she wants to look for something outside of the family. We don't regard motherhood as a career, isn't it? What do you think? How much do you think a mother raising children should be paid? I'm asking you guys questions. Nobody is answering anything. I'm going to call you up to please give me an answer. How much do you think a woman raising children should be paid in a month?
Priceless.
It's priceless. Thank you very much. There's not enough you can pay her. You know, there's not enough you can pay her for that job. I was looking at something on the internet. The woman had 3 children, and she left them with the husband for a day. Say, oh boy, that's what I want to say exactly. She had to go somewhere and left the 3 little kids with the husband to take care of them. At a point, the man was getting crazy. He picked the phone to call the wife. Honey, where are you? Are you near home? The woman said, what's the problem? He couldn't say he couldn't handle the children. But the thing was that he couldn't handle the children. The youngest of them all crept out of the crib and went to the kitchen to make himself a drink, milk. The other one was covered in, I don't know what. He had to pick up one under the bed. He was looking for them. The moment the wife came back to the house, the man breathed a breath of relief. The specialist is back. He had to run away. He had to run away to get himself back, because he never imagined that taking care of these 3 children would give him so much stress. It was then he appreciated the work his wife was doing in the house. You see, mothers most times are unappreciated. Women most times are unappreciated. We take it for granted. That's what they should do. But give it to us, the men. We run crazy. We run crazy. Somebody will say, oh, Father Anthony is not preaching any homily today. I'm not preaching the gospel today. I am preaching the gospel. I want to clear that. I am preaching the gospel today because raising a family is one of the most difficult things a woman could do. It's not that the men are not trying. They have to get the bread, they have to put a roof over our heads, they have to put clothing on our backs and food on the table. Yes. But if you get all that, there's nobody to organize them properly and give them properly. What happens to them? Think of that. You have all the money in the world, and there's nobody there to prepare the food and give it to the kids. There's nobody there to make sure they have taken their bath, brushed their teeth, and properly taken care of. What will your house be like? You know, that's why I said, cast your mind back to the family in which you grew up. I am the second of 8 children. My mother was a nurse. My father was a teacher. I knew what it meant. In the morning, get up to go to school. Or in the evening, come back. Everybody is struggling for a plate of food. But my mother had a trick. She never served us food in different plates. She always put our food in a tray. Everybody go around it and eat. We grew up with that, knowing you have to eat with the rest of the family. You have to be part of the family. There is nothing like special food for you. They did their best to help us to grow up to be human beings. They succeeded, I would say. There are families who hit the rocks trying to do that. What would you say to a woman whose son, one of her sons, stole her gold trinkets, earrings, necklaces, and everything, and sold them? She called the police, and they discovered it was her son, and he was arrested and was put in jail Every day she would cook food and take to him in jail. So one of her friends said to her, "Why are you doing this? Why are you taking food to him? He sold the gold. He inconvenienced you." The woman looked at her and said, "He is my son. He is my son." That answered the question, why are you doing this? Whereas in many cases, some fathers will abandon the family and run away. I've had so many stories from people, personal stories. Those ones said the father went out to buy milk one day and never returned. Mothers hardly do that, unless something, you know what I mean? Unless the knot on the head has loosened, they will stick to it. I met a Nigerian family. The woman was working as a nurse's aide in one of the hospitals where I was doing a chaplaincy. She has 6 children. When I asked about her husband, she said the man said America was too difficult for him. So he abandoned the 6 children and the wife and ran back to Nigeria. I said, oh my goodness. If the 2 could not handle 6 children, how can one person now handle 6 children? You understand what I mean? The woman might be the workhorse, but she needs support. She needs support from her husband. That's why I want to tell the men, be close to your wife. Support your wife. Help your wife in whatever way you can. The success of the family is your success. The failure of the family is your failure as the man. Whatever your wife wants you to do for her to help her in the raising of the children, if it means sometimes changing the diapers, please do it. There are some men who can't stand it. Am I correct? Men, what do we say? Am I right? There are some men who can't stand changing the diapers. For them is, you know that, not to talk about cleaning up the baby, but there's somebody who does it every day. We may say she's gotten used to it, but she does it in love. Then we wonder why the women last longer than the men. They do it with love. They are rejuvenated with the children around them. We get much older, and before you know it, you hear the announcement. With gratitude to God, we regret to announce the passing away of Mr. So and so. There is no family without its own share of problems. When things get tougher, do not run away. No. When things get rougher for you in the family, do not run away. Seek help. Sit together and plan what to do, how to move things forward. You need to do that. Let the children grow up knowing you to be the man who loved them, the man who provided for them, the man who protected them, not the man who runs away when there is difficulty. Remember, a good shepherd is the one who stands around and is ready to fight off the wolves, not the one who abandons the sheep when the wolf appears. Be the example as a father. Be the example the children will always look up to. Be the kind of father your daughters will look up to. to protect them. And they will learn what it means to be a husband, so that they do not go and marry all these crazy young men around them, thinking they have found love. Be the example that your sons can copy and know how to treat women. Show them the example. Be their guide. Let them look up to you and learn how to be a man. Part of the problem in society today is that we do not have enough fathers around to help the young men to grow up to be men. And therefore, they grow up not knowing who they are. Fathers, take it as your responsibility. Renew yourself in your families. Today you are strong. Tomorrow, you might not be that strong. You need people by your side to take you here and there. You need people by your side. What you provide for the little ones growing up, by God's grace, they will provide for you when you are old and cannot even tie your shoes. If God blesses you with old age, a time will come when you will need somebody to get you a cup of water. If you never provided for those growing up, how do you expect them to provide for you when you are old? You know, they say life is a boomerang. Or as Christ said, whatever you sow, that you reap. I don't need to give you many examples, but there are so many of them we can point to. There is one I can give you today, just one. The man abandoned his family, the woman struggled, and the son became a medical doctor. On the day of the graduation, the man came around, driving his, I don't know how to describe the car, looking haggard himself. He came around. The boy didn't even say, "Hello, Daddy." He never acknowledged him as his father. The only person he knew was his mother. The woman was the mother, the woman was the father. The man came around and hovered around. Let me not use the word I want to use, but he came around hovering like a feather being blown around by wind. He could not talk, he could not sit with the rest. Your family, I believe, is the greatest blessing that God will ever give you. Do not lose it. Do not lose it. Hold dear to that blessing. Look at those who have no children, who are doing everything possible to have a child. They want to have something crying in their families. They have to hear the cry of a baby. They go up and down this fertility clinic, that fertility clinic. And yet God blessed you. And then you look the other way and allow them to be wasted. I say again, what a man sows, that he reaps. That he reaps. There are a lot of people who cannot talk about their fathers because of the experience of growing up with them. Many of them were absent fathers. No, that's not right. That's not right. Be there for your family. Be their pillar, be their strength. They can look up to. And your children will grow up to be men as well. Not those who don't know who they are or what they are. If you have done your best and one of them goes astray, you can say to God, I did what you told me to do. Unfortunately, one of them did not go the way you wanted, so that you don't regret the whole of your life. Let me beg the mothers who are unfortunate to have bad husbands, please do not talk about your bad husbands in front of your children. Do not castigate them. Do not call them those names you call them. One said, oh, he is the donor of the DNA. No. Do not belittle your husband before your children, no matter how bad he is. Help your children to respect their father. Grow up respecting him and honoring him, no matter how bad he has been. If your wife is the one that is not holding on to the bargain, do not disrespect your wife before the children. No. It doesn't help the children. It doesn't help the family. I think I have to stop here, because I can continue talking till tomorrow. Because we know that the family is the foundation of society. What happens in the family is reflected in the society. Good families bring good society. Bad families bring bad society.